Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Thank you for joining us again on I think it's our 15th session, or maybe 18th. Um, and I want to start off with the translation of Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh, because people have asked me. And there are different types of translation, and these translations make some understanding to you depending on your state of awareness as well. So, at one level, the word Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. The word Waheguru is made out of really a number of different uh, um, syllables in order to create a particular understanding of existence. So Vaheguru are the four sounds that represent existence as a whole. Vahe is when you become awestruck. So Vaheguru also is when you are awestruck, when you truly get it, when you truly get it, when you truly immerse in the experience that you're having. That when we get into that space, there is this expression of wow, right? Wow. So this expression, this experience is only brought about through a guru. And the guru is made out of two words. One means darkness, one means light. So guru is when you get to know something. It's like when you wake up from a dream, say, or a nightmare, the relief you get and the wonderment, it's that multiplied infinite. So Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa means those that are egoless. Khalas means those that are egoless, those that are in tune and synchronized and harmonized with existence, with justice, with truth, with compassion, that begin to bring together, work from a place of common humanity, common existence. It's saying, Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, that existence belongs to these individuals who operate without any ego. A disciplined way of being. And this disciplined way of being is the tradition I come from. So Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. It's saying that the selfless existence belongs to the selfless. And victory is always of existence. Existence always wins. And when we talk about existence, we're not just talking about the reality that we see, but it's that deep down inner space that we find in ourselves that we are so fortunate to know how to access it. That inner space where we can go beyond the physical, beyond the mind, beyond the emotions, and experience awareness, knowing and being. And Vaheguru is that which allows you to take this expression. It's the expression. So it's a mantra that has an experiential process to it. And it's a mantra that's used in the Sikh tradition. And today I want to say that without a guru, and we all have different gurus, right? But without a master, and I'm not talking about teachers, I'm talking about masters. Without a master, it's very difficult to know the truth from knowledge. So let me qualify that. Someone can tell you what it means to burn your hand. They can write a thesis on it. They can tell you, they can show you pictures of it. They can do all of that. But they cannot describe the experience because the experience will vary depending on who's there, whether it's you, whether it's me, who's there. So when we begin to recognize that there's a difference between knowing, and it's not the same as experiencing. And we have lived, when we know, we're actually taking someone else's truth or understanding to be our truth. Think about it. So when we say, I accept what you're saying is, I don't know the truth, but I guess you do. I believe you. So you give your power away. Now, in some cases, it's all right because children do that. And children do that because this is part of the nature of development. But then there are other agencies which tend to use this against you or your best interests. And today we're finding ourselves in a very similar circumstance where we are confronted with a reality. And this reality that we're confronted with, and every day it's consolidating in some way, is also something that is uncharted. We don't know which way it's going at the moment. But there is in this transition, it is so important to know your truth. It's so important to know your truth. That's your anchor. It's not my truth. It's not your neighbor's truth. It's not the person that you love's truth. It's your truth. What does it mean to be you? I'm not talking about some ego pattern, how you express yourself. Ultimately, when you are faced with mortality, you are faced with now perhaps even not having the same type of job that you had. So where you before when someone asked you, what do you do? They used to define you with your job, with your work. Now where does that leave us? So identities are shifting. And in this shift of identities, there are certain emotions that come up which are unhealthy. Why are they unhealthy? Is if they are sustained, like fear, anger, frustration, irritability, resentment, uh, boredom, even boredom, stress, pressure, those kind of um, uh, states of health or states of being can really have an impact on our health. So we all, how do we practically put what we know, what we understand in our everyday life? So over the past few weeks, what we've been trying to do is to take all our friends around the country, around the world. I see now friends from Spain, from Alexandria, Marina. People are joining in from Portugal, from Spain, Sandra. People are joining in. There is a collective consciousness that is starting to know the process of what it means to be healthy for themselves, but also what it means to be sovereign. And that's where we're moving into this space of sovereignty. And sovereignty is different than anything I can describe. It has to be experienced. And as I began, that it is difficult in this world to know without someone who has gone through the experience, someone who is a master, someone who is a master, right? Someone who has been through it. And I want to introduce to you, found a picture, today Shanta found a picture of one of my teachers, Baba Puran Singh. So such teachers that they come across, they teach you many things, teach you things about life, is because they've been through so much. They've been through situations of terrorism. They've been through situations of fleeing countries. They've been in situations of having to rebuild lives. So they have real experience. That's just at a practical level. But this man, he was incredible and left me with a lot of understanding and put me on the right track. So without a true teacher, my mother, true teacher, without a true guru, someone who knows that there is more to life than the regular mundane stuff and is able to anchor in some truth. And that anchoring is what your whoever has gone through the experience is your anchor. And so the wisdom tradition always comes from this anchor of those who have walked the path, those who have walked the walk and have accounted for their experiences, not second hand, not third hand, but themselves. mystics from and bodhisattvas from the northeast of India, all of them bringing together this understanding of look, yes, it's enough to be enlightened, fantastic. So what? What are you going to do with your newfound sovereignty? Then there is a way of expressing it. There is a way of being which benefits not just yourself, but those around you and life itself. It's making certain priorities. So if I asked you a question today, what's the one thing that is the most precious to you right this moment? One thing today. What is the most precious thing to you right this moment? Is it life? Is it your family? Is it people? What is the most precious thing that you have right now? And sooner or later, you will come to the conclusion that my health is one of the most important things I have. But actually, you've never understood health. It's never been explained to you from inside out. It has always been looked at. In fact, not always, just a couple of 100 years, 150 years or so, it's changed this model where it's all about how you deal with health from the outside in. It's the symptoms that they go for. So, this wisdom tradition brings to you an understanding of how the mind works, how the mind operates, what the mind is. Look, you cannot deal with mental health or emotional health unless you know what the mind is. To work with first the understanding of the mind theoretically, but also experientially. Then, how the mind accounts for two states of being, emotional states. These emotional states are suffering or non suffering. That's all there is to it. And then we add our story to it and we make it to guilt or shame and things like that, other things. But really, that's our basic feeling. And then that feeling comes out as a sensation within our physiology. It changes our physiology because the mind and body are connected. You know, the same old story that I've been saying since we started this. But it's important to recognize this because by settling the mind, by bringing the mind in a state of contentment, by over and over again, not just learning about what meditation is, but how to apply it and how to recognize what is happening in that experience. It's a process of growth. And it's only when we have matured to a state where we can look back that we will realize that this collective growth that we have been going through with its own interruptions, but there's a collective growth that's happening. This collective growth is a growth that is expanding. It's a growth that is embedding itself because every time we become still, we should do something that is of value to our body, we do something that's value to our mind, and our emotional states become balanced. And that's what we need now. So we are now moving from a state where we began a few weeks ago, which was fearful, and we could have quite easily remained there if you keep watching the stuff that's out there. So it's important to take control, look at what the fear is telling you, take the right precautions, and then step out. And we've tried to do this, and I would say most of the people that are with us now are in a state where they have a little bit more of a handle on being able to recognize, yes, there is a concern out there. Fear is a thing, but I am not my fear. Yeah. There is a way of looking at it as an emotional state that's transient. Helps us not get caught in that emotional energy, but to learn from it. Okay. So we've tried to take ourselves out of this fear. We've taken ourselves to, wow, look at this. Look at what's actually going on with me. Become a little bit curious, become a little bit inquisitive of wanting to know how you operate, how the whole thing operates. And it's fascinating. You'll never be bored of yourself. You'll never be bored of yourself. But we need a mechanism to go in. But knowing that currently we are facing a crisis of a sort. And the crisis is a crisis that is challenging a number of things. But one of the key things it's challenging is that people are now questioning what is happening out there, where the whole thing is going, the level of confusion that seems to be out there apparent, the level of disruption, and this energy is beginning to bubble up, which could quite easily become anger and quite easily go into protests. So it becomes a more volatile place. So in this space, what is the best thing we can do? You can't go and calm the world down. It doesn't work like that. People are in their own space, and those people who are unable to get any decent money in, they've lost their job, they're unable to go out, or their childcare issues. It's not that easy for people living in those circumstances. It's hard for them at so many levels. And is enough to know that, look, there may not be enough that we can yet recognize, but over time we will recognize. People will start recognizing this. And there are communities that are trying helping people each other. So there is a level of interconnectedness that is growing. And if we can allow ourselves to be part of our own growth in our own special way and consolidate on this, learn from it experientially, not in terms of knowledge, experientially. So I explain some psychology and I connect this with my understanding of what the teachings from the Gurmat comes in, which explain the nature of the mind and experience and how we can use that in order to cultivate a healthy space. So we begin with the mind as ever, and we're moving now into the mantras. And so over the last three sessions, we looked at mantras as a sound, as a frequency, something that vibrates certain times over a certain section of time. And as it vibrates, it acts like a tuning fork, which allows us to allows our body chemistry and the vibrations within us, the frequency to be influenced by that mantra. Then the second thing is, how do we apply the mantra, the four levels of sound that we looked at. Now, some of this information you're not going to find anywhere. It's those who have traveled the path. It's those who have been there, those who know what it means, are the ones who can explain to you. And it is only by you drinking the nectar you will know how sweet it is. And that nectar begins with becoming present first. Okay, so we move from take this whole set of processes sessions as a process that we're trying to move forward collectively. So at a mental level, we are providing a solution as best as we can. We are providing at an emotional level a solution, but also in terms of physical, there's the Qigong exercises for women, Qigong exercises for men, general Qigong, just regular stuff that we were taught by our master, late master Jim Bacon. Um, that is available on the Flame site. If you want, please, feel free to access that. Um, the idea is to provide a holistic process. So through the mantra prescription, how we take the mantra, four levels of sound. So today I'm going to share with you the six conditions of what makes a mantra a mantra. Okay, there are six conditions. It's in the book that I wrote. So first is that it should be revealed, or it should have been used or developed by someone with a known lineage. So someone we can trace backwards. We can say, all right, I know this person used it, and I know this person used it, and the kind of people that they were, and you move forward. Where did he get it from? Where did she get it from? And so on and so forth. You follow that lineage, and it has to have a lineage, has to have something that has been, that you can trace back. It's the real thing. So mantra can't just be made up out of nothing. Two, it has in itself like a latent energy. So it's like a coiled spring, and it's not quite open. So as we begin to open it, sometimes or use it, sometimes this opens quickly, and there can be a sudden overwhelming feeling. But it's always one of health, well-being, compassion, and then the sense for sacredness as well, right? Three, it is chanted, recited, or sung in particular ways. So SoHaam we were using, we're looking at that mantra simply because it's a mantra that's connected to the breath. But it's a mantra that also goes with Bhagat Kabirji. It's a very powerful mantra, and we are introducing how to use a mantra. So you can use your mantra, but I would suggest only use a mantra which you know where you got it from, and you can trace the lineage. It's important to do that. The mantra also is like a seed, so it grows. It's a fractal. It begins. It's like so think of a seed. So when a seed germinates, the little shoots move up and down. Now, at that moment, they look quite symmetrical, but soon they begin to come in a pattern. And the pattern is like a spiral, and the pattern is a fractal. It begins to grow. It's like a vortex going backwards. As we begin to use a mantra within us, this vortex begins. And this vortex allows you feel, some people will feel it, some people won't. Over time, science will catch up to this technology of our inner anatomy, antkaran, our inner space, and how we can manage that. So the mantra allows this process of growth. It has in itself, it's a seed. It's not just. Secondly, it is also energetic. So it has a level of protection. Has a level of something where it changes your electromagnetic field. Let's call it that electromagnetic field, where it's a level of protection. And there are many cases where the one mantra Vaheguru, for particular, has been used by women in certain very precarious situations, and they've got out of it, and they've asserted it to their skills, etc., but also having something that enable them to feel strong in the moment. So you can use any mantra, but you can see the value of a mantra. It's important to have a mantra. Now, there is another reason to have a mantra. Life is finite. Life is finite. Because life is finite, the question I asked you earlier on is what is of most priority to you? In that moment, it'll become very clear. Now, it's important to know, where shall I fix my awareness? It's important to know that. So one of the ways to look at that is to use a mantra. Because if you know the mantra is real and has lineage, then you know that if you can become aware of that mantra has a process of its own. So it's a mantra that can help us in different states of consciousness, from living, from even the transition between life and death, and who knows, even beyond. But the point is, so it has a residing energy, it's a seed, it has lineage, etc. And it's a plugway, it's like a doorway. It's a doorway that will open you to consciousness in its pure realm. And you will only know that when you know that. That's just the way it is, right? So as we use the mantra, so now we use the sound. So we begin with the outer sound. So we'll go with Vyakri. So it's SoHaam. So SoHaam has lineage. We know that. We know that it has been used by many traditions, but in particular the Kabir tradition, and also within the Sikh tradition, and in other mystical traditions. We know that it is connected to the sound of our breath, and our breath is our life. So there is no concern about any religious overtones. It's simply connecting to our breath. Right? And in connecting to our breath, we begin to listen to our breath. And as our breath, we become present. So we're going to do that today, right? So now you know what the mantra is. So it's with that respect that we move into with the soul. So eyes are closed and mouth is closed. Shake your body just so your shoulders feel a little bit loose. And notice that your eyes are closed and your mouth is closed. Now, as you breathe in, bring your focus to yourself. Notice your posture. Notice your mood today. What's your mood been today? Has it fluctuated? Or is it the same one you're carrying from this morning? What's your mood today? How do you feel today? Do you feel settled? Do you feel unsettled? How does the mind feel? Have you been thinking a lot? What have you been thinking about? What's your story been today? Yeah? What story we tell ourselves to remind ourselves of certain things. So, what's been your general story today? Concerned about the pandemic? Haven't got the washing done? Where's your priority today? Now, bring your focus to where you're sitting. And as you breathe out, allow your body to relax a little. Notice the sensations where the floor or the seat meets your body. As you breathe in, bring these sensations upwards. So now you have focus, or you can sense your pelvis, your hips. And as you breathe out, allow this to just slowly flow down your thighs. So your awareness just moves down your thighs towards your knees. From your knees, you move down to your ankles. From your ankles to your feet. From your feet to the bottom of your feet. So notice, as soon as you want to become aware of your feet, your awareness moves there. So you have the ability to move your awareness. Doesn't need to get stuck into it. Move your focus back to the chair or the floor you're sitting on. As you breathe in, move your focus lower back. Next breath in, upper back towards your middle back. Next breath in towards your shoulder blades. And then from your shoulders, notice if your shoulders are hunched. And then if you can, just slowly pull them back a little bit. Notice how your chest opens when you do that. Now from your shoulders, move your focus down to your elbows, to your wrists, palms of your hands, fingers on your hands. Now bring your focus to the back of your neck. As you pull your chin in, notice the back of the neck stretching. Now bring your focus to your eyes. Notice that you have awareness of darkness or whatever you feel you have awareness of. In other words, you can see darkness. So you have awareness that you are aware. And you can move this focus, this awareness towards the back of your head. Allow your eyes and this part of the body to soften. And then move your focus to your mouth. Notice if your tongue is firm or soft. If it's firm, allow it to soften. Scan it from the back of your tongue, scan it to the tip. Notice the sensations. You're actually tingling. There's a whole orchestra going on. Notice the sensations on the surface or the top of your mouth. inside your cheeks, your lips. Allow your face to relax. And as you draw a breath in, bring your focus back to the body itself. See if there's anything dominant in your body at this moment. A pain, a tightness, a sensation. It doesn't need to be pleasant or unpleasant, but just a sensation, no judgment. Okay? Bring your focus to your chest. How do you feel in this moment? Comfortable, uncomfortable, at peace or agitated. Relative peace doesn't have to be complete peace. Worried this moment. On your next breath out, begin to listen to the sounds around you and follow this sound. We'll go into the silence as best as we can. Now from this silent place, bring your focus just beneath your nose. Watching your breath as it moves in and as it moves out. Draw a slow, deep breath in. Hold and relax. Your focus and commitment to yourself is as best as you can to hold your focus just beneath your nose and to be aware that the breath is moving in and the breath is moving out. Allow the breath to breathe by itself. When you're ready, you will draw a slow, deep breath in, and on the breath out, you will simply say to yourself, listening to the sound, so hum. Okay? So when you're ready, deep breath in, so so it's audible. And again, so once again, so and bring your focus back to your breath. And just notice what's happening around you, with you. How the body feels. how your presence is. Next, we're going to take the sound and now we're going to simply mutter it to ourselves, such that only we can hear it. And again, we're using the same sound, so hum. So when you're ready, deep breath in and listen to it. And again, listen to it. And again, one more time. Bringing your focus back just beneath your nose. Now notice what's happening within you, if anything. Simply becoming aware. Next, as your breath goes in, just simply mentally repeat to yourself, so. And as you breathe out, simply mentally repeat to yourself, hum. So begin to synchronize the so hum with your breath. Allowing each breath to go with the so, and as the breath goes out, the hum. Follow the breath all the way out. Now I want you to see if you can lower the volume of so hum within yourself as you breathe out and begin to reduce it, moving the volume lower and lower. But keep your focus on the breath. The breath is your anchor. Notice how so hum continues. Maybe very faint, but keep with it. Follow the sound of this bell as far as you can. Allowing so hum to resonate in the silence. And now I'd like you to notice how the sound of the bell itself is so hum in resonance. Notice your experience. Notice the stillness. Notice the silence. Notice your presence. Notice the strength in that presence. How timeless it is, embedded in this moment of now. Beyond fear, beyond anger, simply present. And all you need to do is just witness the presence. No more, no less. The experience takes place by itself. Just for a moment, follow the bell and see if you can notice yourself to be the witness. The silence. Begin to bring back slow SoHaam back to your mind. And as it gets louder, focus the so and the hum with your breath. Increasing your breath gently and raising the voice within yourself of the so and the hum. And as you become aware of yourself, knowingly or unknowingly, whether you see it or you don't, give reverence to that moment. Give reverence to having a way of finding yourself in. Notice how your breath carries that mantra with you. Know that whenever you find yourself in a situation when you find overwhelmed, always join with your breath. Allow the breath to breathe by itself, listening to your mantra. When you hear the next bell, deep breath in. Take a few deep breaths in and then open your eyes gently. Thank you very much. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. I will just end with a few words that life is a gift treasure it. Look for masters and not teachers. Know that those who have walked the walk are the ones that are worth to talk. Everything else is just commentary. Be careful. Know that you're safe. Know you're looked after. Know that you're part of this existence. Know that this is a fantastic journey that you're on, and it may be uncertain at times, but know one thing: you're flourishing and you are looked after and you're healthy. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa,